Hi, so this is Brett. I'm here with Sandy. How you doing, Sandy?
Very good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Yeah, still in Florida, I see.
I am, yep, yep. And you're back from a little holiday that you took?
Yeah, we just had a little mini break. We went up to really cool part of the world called Wemyss Bay, which
Oh,
is just kind of on the coast from Glasgow. So if you just head west
okay.
from Glasgow,
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's out there, and it's surrounded by lots of isles. So there's
Mm,
like the Isle of Arran and
mm,
the Isle of Bute and
mm.
places like that. So
Uh,
yeah, it's you can catch a little ferry after some of these little isles and have a
oh,
drive
cool.
around. So yeah, it's
Are
nice.
they like the little isles that each have a distillery on them, that sort of thing?
Well, yeah, the Isle of Arran definitely does, and yeah, I've had a few bottles of that. So yeah, I can highly recommend
I'm
Arran.
surprised.
Yeah, um, and I think so. The Isle of Bute. There's a place called Rothesay, which
Mm,
is like the main little town on the Isle of Bute, and they also had their own whiskey as well.
mm,
So
mhm.
it's less of a well-known one, but yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
nice.
So yeah, it's very cool. So yeah, back home and yeah, straight back into it.
Great. What are we going to talk about this week?
Well, obviously we've got the forms webinar.
Hmm.
So yeah, we'll well, I guess it'll have taken place by the time
Right,
this is up on YouTube,
right.
but
It,
yeah,
it will have been wonderful.
it would have been wonderful. Yeah, it would have shown some great features of lightning forms and so on. So yeah, we're running into September, which means it's
Well, I did want to just make one little comment actually before we
okay.
get off of that, and that is that just in, we've just had rolled out the document generator in August as an add-on to Forms, and we've had some really good feedback on that already. People seem really interested in that, and people will notice if they download the new version of Forms. So if you're either trialing or if you're a current customer of Forms, you'll see that you now have a trial of the document generator that'll pop up on your screen. So that's been mentioned a couple times. So I just wanted to mention it. It occurred to me. And so that means that you have 30 days that you can try out the document generator, which you demoed a couple weeks ago in our chat, and that'll have been on the webinar also, and see what you think about it. And then you can speak to somebody, your account manager or a member of our sales team, if that's something you want to add. But yeah,
Very cool.
good interest on that so far.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
That's great to hear. And so yeah, we're moving into DeliverPoint month.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, we've got one real main feature for DeliverPoint, but we've also got lots of minor things I think that have been
Mm-hmm.
improvements over
Mm-hmm.
the last few months since we made a release, and we've also got an enterprise edition as well. I think
Mm-hmm.
we need to talk about.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, should we just start off doing a quick recap as to what DeliverPoint is?
Sure. I think we've done that a couple times, but people who are new to the show wouldn't have seen that. Just that DeliverPoint is our permissions reporting and management tool, and that works right within SharePoint. I just demoed it yesterday, the SharePoint Online version of DeliverPoint, to somebody yesterday, and they were especially excited about the part where it's right in context. So if you're a site owner and that you can see the DeliverPoint icons throughout your site and in lists and libraries, and you can report on and manage permissions right from there without having to, and even from the IT perspective, you don't have to install it on some server or somebody's computer that and access things that way. It's all right within SharePoint. So I would say that's one of the really big advantages that our customers see.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, so that ability to contextually produce permission reports and manage permissions based upon changes occur every day. Things like
Hmm.
transferring permissions between users and things like that. Certainly a lot simpler to do
Mm-hmm.
using DeliverPoint.
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
The person I was talking to, they were especially interested in having the site owner, and this has come up fairly frequently, that maybe more recently than before, where the site owners need to, for HIPAA compliance or different kinds of compliances, they need to run permission reports on their sites on a regular basis and review those permissions and make sure that they don't have, external users who shouldn't be there, or sharing links that shouldn't be there, and things like that. Just make sure that everything's proper and kind of sign off on that with their IT department. So that that comes up a lot.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot too. So yeah, absolutely right. Fantastic. So what's new? What's the main new feature?
Well, the main new feature is that you'll be able to now save reports as templates, and this is in the online version of DeliverPoint. In the on-prem version, there has always, or at least for a long, long time, been the ability to schedule reports, and so you can create a discover permissions report with certain criteria and options, and then schedule that to be run at a given time, and it'll always be that same report. So we haven't had that in DeliverPoint Online, and well, still can't schedule them because we don't have time or jobs. But you can at least create a discover permissions report on a certain scope with certain options, which a lot of people want to do, something like that, and then save that as a template. And then later on, you can come back next month and just choose to run that same template without having to remember what all the options were that you set. So I think that's a really great new feature that people have been looking for.
Yeah, so those filters that you might want to put in
Mm-hmm.
place and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Exactly.
great, excellent. So yeah, that just becomes a sort of single click to run those
Mm-hmm.
reports again, as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to, yeah, like you say, trying to remember what to filter it by, permission level wise, and
Right.
that type of thing. So
Yep.
certainly makes it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Great, excellent. And so you mentioned there's quite a few smaller refinements as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know the rollback
Mm-hmm.
permissions, that such a helpful feature for things like
Right.
your temporary users, such as contractors, or if somebody needs to have their permissions elevated for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I know, sometimes there's requests, can you make me a site owner, because I actually need to make some permission changes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually you can, yeah, make that change,
Mm-hmm.
um, and roll it back at a later
Mm-hmm.
date if you want to. So yeah,
You
that's
know, you know, that's something I always forget, that use case of rollback. I know that you've mentioned that before, and then I don't remember it because whenever I'm showing people about the rollback, I usually talk about it in terms of, yeah, if you realize you made a mistake, then you can go roll it back. But you're
well, there's
right.
that too.
There's absolutely an intentional change that you might make and intentionally plan to roll it back.
Yeah, and also yeah, in DeliverPoint on premises, there's the option when you're granting permissions to have that for a certain amount of time as
Mm.
well. So you don't even have to remember to roll it back. But again, that's based on a timer job, which
Uh-huh.
we don't have in Chip on Online. So yeah, yeah,
Mm.
absolutely, it's a great little feature that. So
Mm-hmm.
so that's now the default. So you don't have to remember to
Mm.
tick the rollback.
Mm-hmm.
So
But you can undefault that. I think there's a PowerShell commandlet that we provide. So there are several, actually, that might be good to mention, several PowerShell commandlets that we've created that are available with DeliverPoint and that let you set different options. I know the other one I had just mentioned to you before this call, but now I forget what it was. And then there's one to change some of the menus and things like that. So things that are actually configuring what settings are available. Oh, I know what it was. You can configure to not show the modify Microsoft 365 groups option if you don't want people to be able to do that.
yeah, yeah, that's a cool one to mention. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, that comes on to, quite common requests is, DeliverPoint, being a contextual permissions management tool, of course, gives you quite a bit of options
Mm-hmm.
as an owner, and sometimes yeah, the IT staff don't want that amount of options to be shown to their end users. So this part and parcel of that is you can actually switch off some of the menu items.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want people to be able to copy, transfer, delete permissions, for example, that can be switched off,
Mm-hmm.
or only made available to users that are site collection admins
Right.
and gone through training or something along those lines. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very true. And so you mentioned also about exporting. So we've always exported to CSV, right? But
Right.
so you can actually export to Excel.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's very handy too, especially because then you get kind of the Excel formatting and things like that on usernames. I think that's maybe how that first came up, that someone had a problem with I think another language alphabet that wasn't exporting properly, but then that's fine if it wasn't exporting properly into CSV because that's just kind of raw.
Mhm.
But when you export to Excel, then it's just fine.
Cool, fantastic. And so we also have an enterprise version of
Mm,
DeliverPoint that I think is well worth talking about. And
mhm,
you won't really see much on our website about this. It's new, but it's not been new to us for quite some time.
uh-huh,
Basically, we've developed a version of DeliverPoint that does actually have a back end similar
mhm,
to our on-premises version. It has a number of Azure functions as well that you can call for some of the different reports, and that's one reason why it's not just available to download from our website, because there's quite a lot of hand holding in order to be able to
mhm,
configure all of that environment
mhm,
for a customer. But this is for really customers that do have potentially tens of thousands of users, or in some cases over 100,000 users, and they want to be able to run some very large scale reports. And DeliverPoint Online, it runs these reports in real time,
mhm,
using a mixture of Microsoft Graph and the client-side object model and so on. But one of the challenges is avoiding things like throttling, which if you are avoiding throttling, then that means that it's going to be a while before you get your report because you're
uh-huh,
avoiding throttling. So scheduling jobs is kind of along the same lines, not
mhm,
in the same way that I want to have this job produced at this specific time, but you can actually have trigger the job and then be notified once it's
mhm,
executed, and that means you can navigate away, you can do other things, you don't have to leave the
mhm,
browser open and all that sort of stuff. So
mhm, mhm,
yeah, that's an option as well, which we're going to be launching very soon. So customers can take advantage of that as
mhm.
well. So.
And also because that solution includes some applications that run on a server, we can do things on a recurring basis, like we had done with SharePoint timer jobs. It's not through timer jobs; it's rather through the application. But then that does allow you to do some things like that.
So having like your quarterly reports and
Right. Right.
stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. So we have a webinar
Mhm.
that's on the 23rd of September at the usual time. So it's on a Thursday at 4
Mhm.
p.m.
Mhm.
GMT, or whatever time zone. Yeah, we're still in summertime in September.
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, when do we switch
Yeah,
clocks? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
October is always the tricky one because probably you switch at a different time than the US switches. And
Yeah. Well, no, the US switches at a different time to us, I think.
uh,
So yeah, the sometime in October is when
right.
our clocks will change. But yeah, in September, so 4 p.m. British Summertime and 11 a.m. Eastern is when the webinar will be taking place. So
Okay.
we'll be going through all the features of DeliverPoint and seeing how that works in
Mhm.
SharePoint Online. You'll see those brand new reports and that
Awesome.
type. Yeah,
Great.
sounds. So anything else you want to mention, Sandy?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess next time we'll be able to show this functionality, so you'll be able to
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
see that running.
Mhm.
And yeah, if there's any questions in the meantime, reach out, and
Yes, definitely.
hopefully speak to you all soon.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. Let's see you next week.
Absolutely. Take care.
All right. Bye.